Uh-oh, an error occurred.
Oh
Wait a
no,
minute. Try again.
I did my name.
It's saying it's an error. But I think the error is only on LinkedIn, so we're going to just go ahead and go anyway.
All
We
right.
are live on Facebook and on YouTube. So thank you to everybody who is attending here today. Sydnee, the best person at Hook. I don't care what anybody says. I know
Thank
Tim
you.
is he's the one that everybody looks at, but I don't know
He's just
why.
the
So
loudest. He is liked because he's the loudest. So if I put out a roofing meme every day, then there would be real competition, right? You know the truth. And
yeah,
now everybody knows.
and please tell me the truth. You're the one that's actually coming up with all of these memes. He's just taking credit for them, right?
I have to be honest, I came up with one and he said it was bad and he did not post it. But I think it's because he didn't want to have to give me credit. So really, it probably was the best one. And maybe now I have to go find it and post it to see what the masses think.
Nice, nice. Well, Sydnee, thank you very much for joining me today. And
Of course.
I wanted to have a couple of things to talk about because I came across this post of it's called a marketing plan decision tree, and it was kind of embedded in the comments somewhere, and I absolutely fell in love with it. I'm not a marketing guy; I'm just a roofer, and but that's what I liked about it. And so tell us a little bit about Hook Agency first, and then about the decision tree, and then we're going to go straight to that.
Cool. Yeah. So, Hook Agency, we are digital marketing specifically for home services. Honestly, we're about 85, probably 90% of our clients are roofers. So, we have a lot of industry context. We are not roofers ourselves, but I think that's what makes us a little bit more like better to serve you is because we don't think we know better. We just know the marketing and then we know some of the terminology within roofing, right? You don't have to like kind of hold our hands through some of that. But websites, Google ads, and then search engine optimization, basically helping you get found on Google, which is where people are searching for you.
Now, I can appreciate everything that you just said there, but I have to give props to Tim. We can make fun of him all day long if we want to, but he is the only marketing guy that I've ever seen actually go up on a roof, spend a day as an installer. I saw him throwing old shingles into the dumpster and everything. So I appreciate him in so many different ways for his passion for this industry
Yep.
And really the relationship that he carries on with your clients. And I know every client that I've ever come across absolutely loves you guys. Your culture in your office is unmatched anywhere. So I really do appreciate everything that
Thank
Hook
you.
does for the roofing space. So
Appreciate
uh,
that.
I'm going to share my screen because I do want everybody to take a look at this. And it doesn't matter if you do 0 to 2 million or 2 million to 10 million in revenue every year or 10 million plus. Can I just tell you another thing that I really appreciate about your team is you don't brag about who your customers are. I know some of the largest roofing customers, the largest roofing companies in the country are using you and you're helping them out. And y'all don't name drop. You probably should, but you don't. But I do appreciate it. You're not
Yeah.
braggers. So
Our results speak for themselves.
the other thing that you're going to see on this list is some of your competitors. And again, I think that goes to show the integrity and the passion that Tim and your team has for the industry, that you're not even bashful about saying, you know what, there's some other good people out there. If it helps your business, go to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's something that we really care about is just like the education side of it too. Even if it's not Hook that you're going to work with, even if you have an intro call with me and we determine maybe we're not the best fit because as we kind of go through some of this, we'll determine maybe a marketing agency is not right for you right now, or maybe Hook's not right for you right now. I still want to be able to help as much as I can. I want to lead you in the right direction. I give referrals, even if it's like, hey, no matter what you do these 3 things. Hopefully we're able to give value, even if it's not because we're taking your money.
Yeah. So just a little bit into me. So I work with Roofle right now, but I have been in the roofing industry since 1992, which makes me very old. But the first 4 years that I was doing this, we hand nailed everything. So I want to give you a little bit of picture of what marketing is to me as a roofer that has no idea about anything about marketing.
Mhm.
When I was going through early 90s, early 2000s, this is just when pneumatic nailers started showing up on the market. I spent, like I said, 4 years, summers going through college, hand nailing everything. And one of my parting gifts to my boss was a Boss Stitch nailer. Like, the thing is a tank, it weighs 50 pounds. Like, your body hurts just from lugging it around. And but it was new. It was technology. It was something that was going to make people more efficient and do faster at their jobs. And there was a lot of really good benefits to this pneumatic gun. But when I gave it to him, he gave me all the reasons why he would never use it. It was too
Mm.
heavy. There was no hook on his belt. There was, we were doing really steep. There was no place to put it. He was going to have to you have to pull the air hose up. Where was he going to get a compressor? Where was he going to plug in the compressor? A lot of the stuff we were doing was new construction. And he gave it back to me. He refused to use it. And so now Roofle, we just launched Roof Quote Pro. It's a great tool. It's an edge of
Yes.
technology. It's something to put onto your website. But if you don't plug it in, it's just sitting on your website. So one of the things, and this is the other thing I want to tell about it. Every single one of the things that my boss told me about why he would never use a pneumatic gun were true. Like, you don't undo it. You have to plug it into the air hose. To me, that's what marketing
Yeah.
is the air to power the tool, right? You
I love
have to be
that.
able to do that. And so a couple of years later, I did go out on another job. He had a gas compressor. He had air hoses. He had figured out how to power them. The entire crew was now using it and taking advantage of the insane amount of efficiency that was gained by turning to technology to get what he
Mhm.
needed done. So to me, marketing is driving the tool. So it's
Yep.
not enough just to build a website. You have to power it. So talk a little bit about how you power websites, and then we'll go into the decision tree itself.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, I think, like the perfect comparison, because just because you have a brand new beautiful website, but you don't get anybody to the website, what's the point of it? So, yes, we want to make sure that we're building beautiful websites, but also you need some of that stuff behind the scenes. You need to make sure that everything is set up properly. There's nothing that's on the website that's like hindering that process. So, the way that Hook and other digital marketing agencies are powering that website is through the SEO and the Google ads. A big part of it is content. As we go through kind of this like marketing plan decision tree, there's other people out there that can be writing content. If you have time, if you're kind of on that smaller shop, $0 to $2 million mark, maybe it does make sense for you to be writing some blog posts, you to be putting content out there. But that's a really big lever that you can be pulling within your marketing to get visitors to your website. It's kind of like you have to feed the machine. You have to feed Google. If they don't know what you're doing, if they don't know your services, your locations, how do they know who to show your website to? So that's kind of what all that like SEO stuff is for, is to help Google understand your business, your ideal customers, and know who they should be showing you to and when. So it's kind of all those different things of the content. Then there's more technical stuff that you have to do on the website as well. But yeah, just because you have a website out there doesn't mean people are going to be able to find it. And if they can't find it, they don't know who you are.
And it doesn't have to be expensive, but it could be
Exactly.
expensive, right? So
It could
you can
be.
do however you want to do it. So let's go over some of this stuff and help us through this a little bit. And I'm going to resize it as you need it.
Yeah, perfect. So I think that it is really cool. So Tim put this together. As you mentioned, there's other agencies, there's other options on there. It doesn't have to be that you're working with Hook Agency, but in the beginning, I think it's really important to be scrappy. There's things that you can do on your own. Hiring a marketing agency does not need to be the number one thing that you're doing. Like to look at, obviously, sometimes you got to spend money to make money, right? So in the earlier stages of your business, generally recommend your marketing budget is a little bit higher. So on this sheet, you can see like What is, if I want to maintain my size, if I want to really grow my business, or if I want to be super, super aggressive in my marketing, where should I be putting some of those dollars? A lot of people ask what percentage they should be spending of their revenue towards marketing. So I like to kind of think like in that 0 to 2 million, it should be around 6% of your revenue is going towards marketing. And that's when really you should be doing things on your own or finding people through, there's like Upwork. I think there's something called, it's Fiverr, but you can find some people out there as well that it's a little bit more one-off. They're writing some of that content for you. They're doing some of the SEO things, but I don't think that in really that like 0 to $1 million mark is when you should be spending a ton of money on an agency. There's other things that you can be doing. Learning is really important in the beginning, and I love for Google Ads, Surfside PPC is just a YouTube channel. They put out a ton of really good content where literally they go step by step on how to run Google Ads, some of the more technical side of things. Contractor Dynamics is amazing. They are really good at teaching and coaching and helping you do some of these things on your own. And you get to take that into the rest of your business forever as well. You know how to do some of these things, and then you just get to layer on it as you grow and do more.
One of the things I appreciate about Joseph Hughes too, in the way he puts so much for free on the internet. Just follow him, read what he does. He posts every day. He is going to continue to give you tidbits. So again, this doesn't have to be expensive. And particularly if you're at 0 to 2 million, I can't, so in my experience, I had a company for 18 years. I paid very little for marketing. And guess what? I got very little in return. But if you do put some sweat equity into it, it means something when it comes to marketing.
Yes. And I think the more you know, Tim likes to talk a lot about extreme ownership. The more that you know about marketing, you know the right questions to ask. You don't have to be a marketing professional, but as you continue to grow and you know the right things to ask, the things that you should be looking for, essentially holding your agency accountable, that's just going to help. It's going to help you make good decisions, and it's going to help you know if your agency is doing the right thing. So really, like in the beginning, being a little bit more aggressive, spending a little bit more money, but learning how to do things yourself is going to be so helpful moving forward and continuing to grow.
Perfect. All right, let's go to the next, to the 2 to 10.
Yeah. So I think 2 to 10 is when it's starting to make a little bit more sense to hire an agency. You probably have a lot more. I mean, not that you don't have already so much on your plate when you're a little bit more of that one-man show, but you're getting busier. You have more people to manage. You're really looking then to start out with an agency. There's a lot of really good agencies out there. There's a lot of really bad agencies out there. So again, that extreme ownership, knowing the right questions to ask. Tim has put out a guide. I know Michael Stearns at Ascend has put out a really good guide on what questions should you ask your agency, just educating yourself a little bit and knowing what metrics you should be looking for. Is my money going to the right places? But I think in these first two sections, really spending a lot of time and money on your job site branding is going to be really important. So getting things like your trucks wrapped, getting something like a catch-all, making sure that you're getting your name and your brand out there, because those are things, again, that you can do. It's not cheap to do it initially, but every time you're driving your truck around, every time you're at a job site, people are going to see your name, getting that name recognition out there. But there are, depending on, do I want to really focus on Google Ads for a while? Do I want to build that longevity of my SEO? Do I want to, focus on residential or commercial or retail or insurance? Just again, kind of determining where am I going to be bringing my business and how do I then find the best partner for that? There's a lot of really, like I said, good agencies out there that kind of focus on these different niches or niches if you're fancy and like to use it that way. But asking again, do you do commercial? Like asking your agency if they're getting good results, because commercial and residential on a marketing side are just so different. I think just extreme ownership, again, is the most important thing, asking the really good questions, but knowing where you want to be going and finding the right partner that's going to help you get there.
One of the things that's interesting too about hiring somebody that keeps ahead of this and keeps up to date with this, because the rules change a lot, don't they? Like
Yes.
what worked yesterday may not be working today necessarily.
Yep. And I think that's a big thing too. I think like within the roofing industry, what I hear a lot is what helps you get from 0 to 10 isn't going to be what gets you from 10 to 20. So it's the same thing with your marketing of you should be doing different things when you're 0 to 5 million than when you are 5 to 20 million. There you should be spending your money a little bit differently and planning things a little bit differently. I like kind of on like the right side of this where it has other types of resources, because as you're getting bigger, those are important things to be thinking about as well. When are you hiring somebody to be answering your phones? If you don't have somebody answering your phones, it's going to be tough to be getting a ton of Google Ads leads or leads coming from your website, because we know internet leads is speed to lead. If you don't answer those phone calls, if you don't get back to those forms, they're going to the next person. So really making sure that you have the right people in place on your team before you're pushing money towards some of this marketing, because again, you're going to be wasting your money if people keep calling you, you don't answer, they're going to leave a bad review. So some of these things on here, like making sure you have some of that back office support, people answering the phones, just people in the right places before you try and continue to grow.
Yeah, the landscape is changing quickly, and technology is really the driver of a lot of that stuff. So we talk about speed to lead a lot, because as a lead generation tool that Roof Quote Pro is, and we're
Mm-hmm.
seeing some amazing analytics coming out of the people who are implementing it, and then driving traffic to their website, and then seeing the homeowner interaction with it. It's still an online lead, and those go really fast. We were on a
Yes.
call with a contractor that said, "Oh yeah, we've got our team dialed in, and our systems. Every single lead we're giving off to a salesperson, and they are followed up in within 24 to 48 hours." We're like, "No, I mean, like, no, we're talking about 5 minutes." And
Yeah.
there are people out there that will, and services out there that'll help you do that. SMA support services is on here.
Yep.
Hook up with those people. They are going to help man your phones for you, without making a crushing uh, financial investment on your business, with manpower. Like, you can have people who immediately respond to leads within seconds, not hours or days.
Yep. One thing, so last year I listened to over 100 calls of homeowners calling roofing companies, and the number one thing I found was people not answering their phone. How are you going to get that job if you don't answer your phone? So it is something that as I'm talking to different, business owners and whatever, as they're deciding, do I want to use an agency like Hook? I want to make sure that that's something you have in place. I don't want to be wasting your money if you're wasting, spending so much money to get these leads and you're not able to either service them, you're not able to answer the phones, or essentially even just like figure out what that homeowner needs. It's a waste of your money.
Yeah, it is. And it is. How many times do you hear homeowners that are, Matthew put it, homeowners are immediately impressed if you respond within minutes. And
Yes.
it's not just homeowners. For us, we do employ those services of SMA. And when we have a contractor that use Roof Quote Pro, they are contacted within minutes, if not seconds, by our team, and immediately talked through the process so that we can engage with them immediately. And I get that back so many times. Like, that was amazing. Like, I hadn't sooner hit get my price, and now I've got my phone's ringing and somebody's on the other line. So the speed of business
Yep.
is going crazy right now.
Absolutely. And again, you're putting your hard earned money into these leads, and leads are so valuable. So when somebody is getting that instant quote, they are looking for somebody to get back to them right away, because they already know. Then they have a price in mind. They already have kind of a scope in mind as well. And the quicker you can get back to them, the more likely they're going to be to want to go with you.
One of the things I saw in a catch-all ad that showed up on my news feed was they are now putting QR codes on their systems. And you think about that as your guys are tearing off, and you've got your name on there, you've got a QR code, a
Mhm.
passerby, and it's got a arrow that points to it and says, "Get an instant estimate." And homeowners are being able to use that QR code, and their house pops up, and you say, get an estimate. Now you've got another basically person out in the field that is going door to door. Only it's passerbys that see your project going on and you're able to give quotes immediately to your nearest. So one of the things I bring that up is because so much of the stuff, it's not all virtual. I mean, dope marketing, catch-all, Equipter, these aren't just virtual things. These are ways to advertise and market your company, brand your company, and
Yep.
create systems that have a lot of depth, that you're reaching homeowners in a variety of different ways. Talk about the number of touches and the different areas and ways that you touch a consumer before they ever become a client.
Yeah, absolutely. So nobody quote me on this number because I don't think it's exactly correct, but it's something around like 10 to 12 touches before somebody actually reaches out to your company. So, exactly like you're saying, you want to make sure that you're showing up everywhere, not only online, because that's a group of people that are searching online, but if they see your again, truck wraps, if they see your catch all things that you've kind of already mentioned, then that's when they're going to go online and they're going to search. And if they see you again, the more times that they can see you, the more they already are starting to trust you. That's another important thing too, with as you're focusing on your job site branding, as you're focusing on doing some of the other things, you want to make sure that then by the time that they do end up searching for you online or even going directly to your website, that's not the piece that then turns them away because they've already seen you so many times. They're starting to trust you. They're getting closer to making that purchasing decision. Then they go to your website and it looks terrible. And they're like, wait a second, I thought they were maybe going to be trustworthy and they're just not. Like, if this is the quality that they're putting into their digital presence, what's the quality that they're then doing on their actual projects or on my home? So making sure that every piece that is going to be touching these homeowners is helping them gain trust, helping your business gain credibility. It's like 75% of customers that go to your website judge your business's credibility based on the professionalism of your website. So once again, you're already spending all this money on every other touch that they're getting to. Then finally you get to that website and you don't want it to be losing you any deals. That's kind of just that final step of, yep, we trust them. They look legit. Let's do it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Sydnee. Happy birthday to you. All right, I hope nobody was ever watching that.
That was better than I could have ever expected. And it was a little bit out of the blue.
Yeah, well, and I figured if I was going to lead with that, nobody would watch the rest of the show. So I really didn't want to lead with that, but I had to do that. Happy birthday. My dog is barking in the backyard. I don't, he was trying to figure out what's going on.
Encore.
No. We're not done because I have a couple more questions for you.
Yes.
As contractors are building their websites and driving traffic, talk about conversion rates. Like how can you actually know that it's working for you and you don't, and how do you determine how to maybe change up a little bit what you're doing in order to get a little bit more effectiveness with what your marketing strategy is?
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that you can be looking at in terms of like, we like to say that we do stuff, not fluff. Like we don't want just to be only looking at those like glamour metrics of things like traffic. But as you're just starting out with your digital marketing, those are leading indicators that you're doing the right things or that you're moving in the right direction. You need to start increasing your traffic before more people can like end up converting, right? If you have no traffic, then nobody's going to convert because they're not there. But so there's things like that you can be looking at before you really start seeing results. But we want to make sure that time on page is a really important thing that you're looking at as well. If somebody gets to your website and it's just kind of a mess, they can't really find the information that they're looking for, they're going to leave. So they're on the website for 1 second and they leave. That's a metric that you can look at. So you want to make sure that people are staying on those pages. On the Google ad side, you really can see because it gives you how many people clicked on this ad, how many people then actually ended up reaching out. So when you're seeing really bad like click-through rates. So a ton of people are looking at your ad or a ton of people are seeing your result, but they're not clicking on your link. You probably don't have a lot of like consistency or relevancy. In specifically Google Ads, I like to look at kind of like what I'm searching on the actual search thing, like in the Google search bar. I want to see that also in the ad copy. And then I want to see that also on the landing page. So consistency throughout that whole search process. If I search for like roof repair and then an ad comes up that says nothing about roof repair, I'm not going to click on it. So that's an impression that people aren't clicking on. So those are things that are really important to look at is click-through rate. And then also ultimately, if 100 people clicked on my ad, but I didn't get one single phone call, there's something wrong. If 100 people came to my website and not one person reached out to me, something is wrong. So just kind of looking at some of those numbers of the people that see your ad or the people that are coming to your website versus the number of people that are actually reaching out, that's the number one thing you should be seeing. That's what your marketing agency can help with, right? Once they actually call you, and if you're not closing any of those deals, what's going on those phone calls? What's going on with your sales team? Are you answering those phone calls? Are you scheduling those appointments right away? Do you have the information that they're looking for? That's really the number one thing is consistency across the board and giving people the information that they're looking for as soon as you possibly can.
And it really is an art form, isn't it? Like the people who are experienced in what works and what's effective in marketing, it's an art form to be able to plug all these pieces together and see a flow and see a process of marketing that actually leads to conversions, that leads to being able to get those interactions with a customer that actually going to lead to projects and lead to jobs. And sometimes it doesn't even take much. Like all you need is an address sometimes. You know, you've got your dope marketing, your lead scouts that are doing amazing jobs of creating very robust marketing strategies using nothing but an address.
Absolutely. And those are things too, like we never want to be 100% of your marketing budget. You should always be diversifying your marketing and doing multiple things because just because you're doing one thing, not every single person is looking online. They're not all searching on Google, although a lot of people are. But the more different types of things that you can be doing, the more touches that you can have in different ways, the better. So you want to be diversifying that marketing budget, using it towards some of the, like you said, direct mail with dope marketing, having job site branding, doing other things rather than spending 100% of your budget on one thing. Your eggs shouldn't all be in one basket.
Do you kind of see as the industry really is evolving, it's becoming more technologically advanced, it's getting very savvy, and you're seeing this where now your branding and your value proposition is just as much is happening just as much online and virtual as it is in the home talking to the homeowner at the kitchen table. Like there's a lot of money being spent there by contractors to be in control of that branding and value proposition message. Almost to a point where it may even be more effective virtually than it is at the home because you have complete control over what that looks like.
Yes, absolutely. And I think the consistency, I said this a couple weeks ago, that consistency might be my word of the year, but just like having that consistency across the board of what are your salespeople wearing when they go out to an inspection? Do they look professional? Do they have your branding on? Is it what matches from the internet? Is it what matches from your job sites? Is it what matches from the direct mail that they got? Having everything really consistent helps build that brand, helps build that credibility and that trustworthiness.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. Again, you are our, SaaS companies like us. You are the breath of what makes us work, and certainly let us know, how does a contractor get a hold of you and your team there at Hook?
Yeah, so if you want to check out the decision tree that we were just looking at, hookagency.com/tree, you can download it. We'll put a link in the comments to that as well. If you want to reach out to me, hookagency.com/call. Otherwise, check out our website. We're super transparent, put our information, our prices, our services, everything on there. A lot of our websites have Roofle and Roof Quote Pro on them. So check those out and see how cool that tool is as well. But yeah, I'm here. Give me a call. I want to talk to you.
Yep. And same here, Mike G at roofle.com, or check me out on LinkedIn or social media, Facebook, Instagram. Yeah, check us out. Get us, just give us a demo. We'll show you how it works. The conversion rates that we're seeing are off the charts. So it'd be worth your time. But thank you for joining us. January, like I said before, January is the time to start doing your market strategy.
Yes,
Get it in place, get your operations in place before the 2023 roofing season kicks off. Thank you, Sydnee. Happy birthday. Thank you for joining me. And we will see you at the next event, I'm sure.
Yes. See you next week.
All right. See ya.